5-inch round pole, they twist in the ground. I mean, you can move the hoops around, you know, so they're long in the tooth. We need to replace those. So that's our basketball hoop area here. Sorry, you can't see that, this is my little drawing of the lake, but we need to replace 6 goals there. And now it's starting to become a safety issue. So that is one of our goals there to do. And the hoops were roughly a cost of about $17,000, labor and material to replace, to put commercial hoops in, okay? So, and that is grant fundable. We want to go after that money with a grant. So, because we did our survey, the board went out there and found this information, you coming tonight is one of the other things that help. Getting public input meeting is another thing that helps in the grant process. So that's area 1 is the basketball hoops that we have there. And in that area, there's not a lot else to do. We have our pavilion that is here by the circle parking area that we run our Easter egg hunt out of. A lot of people use it for birthday parties, graduation parties, what have you. We have a gazebo that's been repainted and re-roofed in the last 4 years. That gazebo, if you've ever seen it, or if you haven't seen it, please do. So whoever built that, I wish I knew, because they did a beautiful job with the stone. It's all stonework. If we were to ever lose that thing, we could never replace it. The volleyball court is there. We have a little merry-go-round here, and then this is just basically open space, what would be the southwest corner of the park. In the beach area, actually, does anybody want to have any questions on that? Yeah, go ahead.
Not the round gazebo, the other one, like the shelter house?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we call it the pavilion right here by the park.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Is there repairs in the works? I seen some, there was the siding up on the roof peak. Could use some attention. Okay.
We can take a look at that. That's just stuff we do, kind of walk around, we see it, we try to take care of. That one was just rebuilt. That had a big tree limb fall on it. We had to have Tim Kraus, I believe, rebuilt that probably 6-7 years ago. So yeah, we can take a look at that. So any other questions on that area of the park? But I mean, that's kind of a developed area of the park. We don't want to crowd it with anything else. So that one, besides just updating the equipment there, is what we want to do there. Now this area here, which would be the southeast corner of the lake on 2nd and Main Street here, this is the fishing dock. And we actually had a couple folks that were disabled that came in and said, you know, the fishing dock would be nice to have access, handicap access to get to it. Right now it's steps and a pretty high hill. So what we want to do is, what the board came up with a plan to do, was to do a switchback of a concrete ramp. Okay, and a switchback, what I mean by that is you go down one way, come back around and get to there. That would involve handrail, because when you have the switchback, there's a lower concrete level, you go down and come around. So there'd be a handrail so nobody falls, gets hurt. So we'd like to add more ADA accessibility to the lake, and that would be one area. Yes, please.
Is there supposed to be a picture there, because, or are you just pretending you're pointing to it?
Well, we can turn it on. We can turn this off. If I turn lights, you might be able to see it.
Because we can't see anything.
Okay, well, let me get the right lights here.
Top ones.
Okay. Can you see that board a little bit better now?
Yeah.
Okay. We're just we're doing 2 things here with the slideshow. Okay, so this is the fishing dock area. And in this area, it's one of the steepest parts of our lake. And the fishing dock is fairly low to the water. So we want to create that switchback, which would be about 40 foot of a switchback. 20 foot one way, and then 20 foot back the other way. About 5 to 60 inches wide, so it's wheelchair accessibility. Going around, and it would have a concrete retaining wall on both of the high sides. Okay, and that concrete retaining wall is what needs, after you have a 24-inch drop, you have to have a handrail. You can't have anything of more than 24 inches, so we would have to have little sections of steel handrail or wooden handrail put in there, or vinyl. You know, we just have to handrail. That was in the $11,000 range. Okay, and that is grant fundable. That is another area we want to go after with the grant. Okay, most everything on this page is with the grant. Okay, this is our grant page. This was printed when I tried to get the grant last year. Okay, so at $11,000, that's the fishing dock, access, handicap accessibility for that dock. Any questions there? And feel free to ask anything. This is what this is for, guys, so, yes.
That will also, the handicap accessible, that will also, obviously be okay for people like with motorized wheelchairs.
Yes, it'll be
Instead of
everywhere.
just push ones.
Yep, oh yeah, it'll be 60 inches wide, ADA is 60 inches wide. It'll have a 10 by 60 down here for a turnaround, so as you go down, there's a landing that's flat,
Okay.
0 grade, and then it goes back down at 2% or something like that. I worked with Reliable Concrete to get me estimates on that, for that, Tim Brewer, to pour the concrete wall and figure all that out. Okay, so that would be another, so basketball hoops, grant, fishing dock, handicap accessibility, grant.
We got another
Okay.
question.
Yes, go ahead.
So is that actually a turnaround there in front of that area there?
Yes, this little black line here, okay, the black line perimeter are the streets.
Yep.
These black lines here are our wooden parking areas. We have our little wooden handrails. This has a little archway of wood here. That's for parking in that area. So you
Okay,
come
so
right
I didn't
in.
know if that's, if you'd be able to get, yes, you're doing the switchback in concrete, but can you get a wheelchair from where someone's gonna be able to get out over to where that switchback is gonna be without problems?
It
Or a
should-
sidewalk all the way to it?
We might have to sidewalk all the way to that. We'd look, or a stone walkway, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There would be that probably from this center here and to right to the
Oh,
switchback.
okay, that thing down there,
That's what I
remember?
can see.
Okay, yep, good, thank you. All right, now beach access. This is no longer a need, as much of a need. Our beach walk here and the rails on our beach here in the northwest corner is concrete. The dock itself at Water's Edge is composite material. The ramp on the beach, this is another reason why we're gonna do this, was 2x6 treated wood. Jordan and I and Jason, Jason Fraley, Jordan Scara, the two trustees, we went down there right up before the holiday, and we noticed there was quite a few rotten boards. So at that time, the board made the call to remove it, okay? So this section of the dock that is on the sand is completely replaced with composite material. In this bid, it was something like Manistee has, where they had the 4 foot by 4 foot plastic walkways where you lay down on the sand. That was in that bid, okay? And that was also to make ADA accessibility. So most of that is unneeded now, and that would be in the second page. And that would be, no, I'm sorry. Where is that? Oh, the beach map, first page, yep, on the bottom. That was all gonna be plastic, but the one thing, talking to ADA and a few people, I actually met with a woman from through Zoom. We had a call with that walk path material, but then they're going out on an offshoot at one side, somewhere on the beach, with like a 4 foot ramp, and then making like an 8 by 8 area, so that a disabled person can be on the beach with their family. So it's not, they're not stuck up here, and they can't just go to the water. They get to go off to the water, and they can have a picnic or be down with their children, or be down with their mom and dad down on the actual beach. So that would be the only thing in this section now going for grant funding, would to do a spur off of here, a spur with a little landing on one side of the beach or the other, okay? So
That would be added expense, that's additional?
It's not really $6,700, and we took care of about 2,000 of that already, so that would have to be adjusted. Remember, these numbers are from January, when we tried to apply for the grant. We were unable to, because we weren't able to get certain numbers that we needed. So we were not able to do that. So that is grant fundable again. We can go for that to make that. We are handicap accessible all the way to the water, but adding that spur in is something that is very favorably looked upon when communities do that. Okay, so I'd like to do that, because we do have a few people with disabled abilities that would like to be down on the water. Okay, so that brings us to kind of our new section. Okay, the township has purchased this about 10, 12 years ago. The house burnt down, we purchased, so now the township owns 8, 9 years ago. Okay. So a lot of the trees, a lot of the bushes, a lot of the older growth, the old buildings, Jerry Self, who was passed on, Jordan, Stara, his father, a few of the fire departments, Dan, Christian Funk, I think Jake Fisher was there that day. We cleaned out the old foundations. We rototilled up the old driveway. We got the park looking the way it is now. Pretty flat, pretty nice, in shape for improvements. So that's our big thing, and that's what Tammy had up there. What we want to do here is, this is the post office over here, this is Little Mary's here. So as you drive into our lake, that is a really nice picturesque view of our township. When you drive in here, you can see the lake and the trees. How we want to open that up is, first and foremost, we want to put a concrete circle. Okay, so this is the road. These are wooden parking rails that we put up. And if you notice, on that 45, we left this open of about 6 to 8 feet here. We'd like to do a stone crush walkway to a concrete circle to a stone crush walkway. And inside that concrete circle would be an aluminum flagpole like we have out here at the town hall, with the flag with flowers inside that flagpole area, with the light shining up on the flagpole. Flanking that on both sides, because how this got started, the fire department brought us to this years ago about trying to get that section of the park looking good. Dan Cummings, when him and I were both running for office, he came up with a great idea that we don't have a Veterans Memorial here. Okay, so one of these was going to be a Veterans Memorial, these pink boxes here. That was going to be a Veterans Memorial, and what that would be is we would raise money. Those stones cost about $5 for a nice 4 by 5 stone. Okay, we're not going to put anybody's names on it. That is up to the family or the fundraisers to put the names, because to have the names etched on is about $100. Okay, if you get 4 or 5, you can have somebody come out and etch the names on it. Okay, we're not going to do that because we forget somebody. You know what I mean? We're in trouble, so we're going to have you come to that. Now, if you notice, there's a second one. We have a very good fire department. We have some members that have passed, we have some members that are retired. The second one is going to be to the EMTs and firefighters. Because this section of the park was always going to be the family firefighter, veterans firefighters park, something like that. You know, this section, it was just kind of a working name for this. So there's going to be a memorial on both sides of the flag. I have 2 red boxes here. Okay, those would be loved to be art installations, because we have a local metal worker here that likes to do those. So he asked if he could put one in somewhere. Andy Priest is his name. He does a lot for the township. So he might make something there. We might find another artist to do something. So that really, it's low profile, nothing over 4 feet, so you still see the lake, you know, except for the flagpole. And as you walk in, we would like to put 2 playground areas in this section. Okay, the school donated us whatever left over at Wellston School. Really, the only thing that's worth anything is the 2 sets of swings. Everything else, not so much. And then the swings are questionable how much it would take us to move it compared to how much new swings are. The flagpole is grant fundable. The monuments, I have not found a grant for that. Okay, the grant we're trying to do is the Mingerton grant out of Manistee. So, the monuments, fundraisers, the Wellston Boosters have already started on that. They are doing with their bunco, they're collecting $1 per head. They're starting with that, so that would have to be private fundraisers. Playground equipment, as you walk in, if we were to bring some of that over, plus something, I can't count how many people have said, I would love to have something like they have if you're familiar with Stronach Park. Now that we all have to go the back way, that playground equipment. Do you have any of that pulled up? I can flip the lights off again real quick. We would love to see fundraisers, once again, some type of double swing, some type of balance beam. Those things are fairly inexpensive, $800,000-900,000. And then a big playground equipment. Do you have the big one? I'll try to turn the lights off real quick. And these are just working. We kept it within the $60,000 range. You can see the one on the bottom, and I can slide this back. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Keep going. See, I was broke before I touched it. But this was one that was about $60,000. Okay. Once again, that's all going to have to be raised. You know, privately funded, not finding grants for that. Will that slide up at all? There, kind of, you can see it there. There are 4 different slides on that. There are 5 different climbing apparatuses. There's monkey bars, there's all kinds of different things. That thing there is about 60 feet by about 40 feet, okay? It's amazing how much those playscapes can cost. They start around 200,000, and they go all the way down to 5,000 bucks. That one Astronic, the best I can figure, that's probably in the $60,000 range. But that's it there. This thing had quite a bit of, it doesn't look that big on there, but you can see an overhead shot. It's 60 feet long by 45 feet. They estimate 45 children can play on it at one time. I think we're probably good with our numbers there. And then we put a few other pieces. So for somewhere in the $70,000 range, we can get a really nice playground and park. Okay? Those swings there, that's $1,500 bucks. So is it worth us moving those old swings that we may not be able to rip out of the ground? You know, that would be what we can raise. And if in a year from now, 2 years from now, we don't have anywhere near that money, we get what we can. You know, that might be the dream, and we might just get some swings and a balance beam and things like that. But we're gonna try to see what we can do. And the one thing that I've talked to Boston Excel about and the boosters is when we have fundraisers, we really need to make it, this money that is raised from here is going to this. And that will help. It's going to the monuments, it's going to the playground. Okay, so I'm gonna flip back to the lights back on so you can see this a little better. Okay, so other sections of the park are benches, okay? And you see this kind of light gray area. That would be crushed concrete walk path, okay? That is in our grant also. That is in the grant funding that we're gonna try to get. The stone walk path is about $7,800.
Is this all going to be local contractors?
That's for what we need. That would be about 4 inches of crushed concrete, crushed asphalt. Whatever we can get, whatever's cheaper at that time.
Is there bidding involved?
We would like to do this so that it is a loop. So if children are playing or people are relaxing and other people in their group would like to walk around, that's over a 1,500 square foot, a 1,500 linear foot walk. Okay, so it's not a bad little loop. That's actually a bigger section of.
You don't wanna go all the way around the lake.
Well, no, that's, you're stepping ahead there, boss. Okay, so if you notice, this offshoot goes here by the pump house, and this offshoot goes by Little Mary's. They have a walkway ramp to get access to their dock. That would be these red lines here. We have to walk along the road or left-hand area. Some little creeks, we'd have to get permission to build bridges. So for now, it would be easy enough to walk along the road, come up the hill here by the fishing dock, and you could walk all the way around the park, and then we have one other bad section. Right here by the bridge on 6th Street, from the end of the beach to the pump house, there's no way around it. There's no way to build a bridge there. You're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars to try to build a bridge there. You walk on the street, you know, on that one. But still, that's 3/4 of a mile, all the way around that park. I know that Mrs. Miller walks it quite often. They would love just a flatter, that path is gonna be about 3 to 4 inches of crushed concrete, crushed asphalt. Tim Fisher and I spoke on that. He can get us the asphalt. Our plan is to rototill up a section, use the township tractor to dig it out, and lay it right down underneath behind with a couple compactors. It would take time, that would be all volunteers. Okay? So that is our walk path
What?
all the way around the lake. Right now, in the grant, I just have this one. I just have
They
the
have
one.
open bids
That one
on
will
it.
run you $7,800.
Why?
Okay? There's other grants out there that we can get for some of this too. So, within
Well,
that
Jason
section
Thompson
of the
could do
park,
all that.
because we have a couple pavilions and areas that have picnic, we wanted a pavilion here.
What
We're
Jason
thinking
Thompson
of a
does.
pavilion
I
here
agree.
tucked in against the trees. This would be a nice place that you could have people play music, that you could do farmers markets, what have you. If you notice, we have it, it's not here facing the lake, so it doesn't block view, but it's also an east-west sun. You wouldn't want to be watching a concert staring at the sun as the sun goes down. So this would be off to the side here, doesn't block the view of the lake at all. In amongst there, the township has talked about, we have one expanded metal bench that is coated in rubber. We would like these benches that are around the walk path for people to rest. Once again, in the ADA thing, it's you need to have resting areas for folks. So we would like to have that. A couple barbecue pits, you know, stand barbecues, and picnic tables. Once again, the board, we've talked about that too, trying to slowly change our picnic tables over to place every 5 to 10 years. So that is, I don't think I forgot everything. So besides the playground areas, you know, we have the playground areas, and there was one other thing that wasn't grant fundable. The monuments, yes. Besides these two things here, everything else we're gonna try to get grant fundable. Yes.
Isn't there, ADA grant money for, handicapped children playground equipment?
Yes, there are, and we're trying to look into that, so that might help with the playground, but I have not really,
Get grant money for handicap as well as, it might fit it into a little bit of help with regular,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, we can do that. There- In that site there, and we had it up, but it's so hard to see right now. There were, swings that a wheelchair can just ride right up to, put it in, and they swing right on that. You know, there are different swings for that. There is actually, you can get a merry-go-round for $3,800. A wheel-in merry-go-round is $10,000.
Right.
You know, when you get into ADA, everything gets really expensive. So yeah, that's some of that stuff we have to get in grants. But we try, and you can get grants for things like that. Somebody else had a question. Yes.
Back over on the beach access on your list, it says create some type of pump shower to wash after lake use. Great, wonderful idea. I'm not really seeing anything about permanent bathroom facilities. Can we maybe entertain that idea?
We've thought about that. The problem with that is we're so close to the lake, it would have to be some type of pit toilet. The other problem with that is our one down at the lake is desecrated on a regular basis. That is not that we have to take the fire department down there and spray it off. And I'm not saying people using it and overusing it, I'm saying people
Abuse it.
abusing it to the point where our firemen basically put on their gear and power wash the thing.
And it's not their job.
Yeah. So we can get a water from cube. And the other thing that we have is, Jordan and I just talked about that today, about doing something like they have down there where it's a pit toilet, you know, where everything's collected inside a basin and it's pumped out a couple times a year. You know, we had issues with the amount of bathrooms, you know, on the 4th of July fireworks. We have 2 hours. So all those extra people, that's come at your own, we don't have a festival. Now, I want to kind of go with the rest of the questions on any of this, because this is what we're going after, this is what we're going to try. I don't know if we'll get any of it. You know, Jordan and I have talked about, we can do this circle in the flag. Denise and I have spoke about doing the monuments. I've talked to Wilson Excel about the monuments and the, you know, the playground equipment. So the township can do a little. A lot of people are kind of under the misconception of how much money we actually operate on. It's not nowhere near what people think. Most of what you see in this building was Mr. Schaefer and a lot of volunteer help. Same with that fire department. Mr. Vanderby, or Chief Vanderby, and a lot of those fire guys and gals worked on that thing and made that happen. The vinyl rail out here. There's very few things that are new in this township that either a board member or a fire department member or somebody at the community at large didn't do it. I mean, we buy the material, almost everything is done by labor. Labor is mostly volunteer, and that's how we're gonna try to keep a lot of this. Because in this grant, at $68,000, for the Binghamton, you have to have a 20% match. And a lot of that can be the labor. So we keep labor hours, and we can write that off in the grant process too. Now, these numbers are gonna have to be changed, because lumber has went crazy. So these were my estimates for the grant process back in January. Oh, and there was gonna be some type of solar lighting. The board is experimenting now with a few solar lights that will be going up at the park. They're dim lights, they're not bright, they're not obnoxious, because we don't wanna make the people that live over there angry, but they're enough for a little security at different parts of the park. So, and we're gonna try to do that with solar. We can buy those for pennies compared to getting an electrician to run out of a truck. You know, as soon as they step foot out of that truck, you know what I mean, and running wire under the ground is always not a very easy thing, because there is quite a few wires. When we put the horseshoe pits in, we found some wire we didn't know was there. So, yeah, so the horseshoe backstops are there too, I didn't mention that. Anybody else on park improvements? Do you like them? Can we count on your support for that kind of stuff? You know, any fundraiser idea we can come up with. My wife and her National Honor Society, I'm gonna kind of have fucking battery, but they did a pie. We got apples donated from, wasn't Meister that time, was it? Who donated
No,
this?
no, that time it wasn't.
Okay, but we have a few apple orchards that could donate us pies, and what we do is we make pies, pie crust, cut all the apples up, the pie's ready to bake. And I think you were selling for $7.50 a pie.
$7.50 a pie, and we were making about $5 a pie.
$5 a pie. So you advertise that, we can get that set up, and we get with somebody that might donate apples or donate crust. We come in here with an assembly line like that, and we make them. 4 or 5 people could probably generate $500 towards those monuments or towards playground, whatever. It's a good little fundraiser that we can do. So, just
Just
anything
buy
like
flour and sugar and make your own crust.
When we did actually grant writing, I mean, grant is something that I have found being a school teacher, you have to do, and there's a lot of little. So, I went through Gordon Food Service and they went through their supplier
Okay.
and we got the crust all donated.
Cool.
So that's what helped us,
stuff.
exactly. So the crusts were already the pre-made crust, you know, and then, yeah, the kids did all the apples and the sugar and the cinnamon and the
you're
fruit.
talking high school students, it's hard enough to get the sugar in the right amount of pie powder,
Well,
right?
there were some that people said
They're a
they
little
didn't
sweet.
taste good, you know, like, oh, did we forget the sugar in those ones?
So just little ideas that we can think of like that.
Yeah.
Pancake, you know, the pancake breakfast and dinners, that has to be kind of done through the boosters or Excel because that's food licensing and that's where you have to be, and I don't know, I'd have to talk to them both about how much we could actually do just as a township.
Kind of fundraiser thing,
Anything that
like
you,
around, like have a DJ or something set up for around the lake, and then it's like $5 a kid to come in and hang out for the evening, and
Oh, I see what you're talking about, like
Yeah.
summertime, street
anything
dancing
that you
and
can
stuff,
come up
yeah.
with, I mean, that's the thing.
That's why we want people to generate ideas like that, yeah.
We have 2 really good organizations here. We have the Wilson Boosters, we have Wilson Excel. You know, the boosters are just kind of, everybody, Excel is more of a business type group. So that all comes in, going through them or doing it on your own. You come with an idea, you come with, when I say plan, I don't mean a 12-page plan. You come with an idea to the board, we're all for that. Whatever we can do to generate. Yes,
Well, I'm getting people to volunteer.
yeah.
I was asked, what about a little library down there, you know, like what they have over in Dixon?
Yep, Michael Lynn and I have talked about that, and she and some others are afraid of it'll be vandalized. I mean, I have people that don't want me to fix the basketball courts. They don't want me to do anything. Because truthfully, we had a young man that drove through, you know, that little short parking rail we have? He drove through 5 sections of that. Broke it, just broke it.
Just to do
For
it.
no reason, our new custodian, and that was right when one custodian quit and we hired a new one, right before Memorial Day, you know, everybody got all upset about Memorial Day. We lost a custodian the week before Memorial Day, we got one that Memorial Day that we were training, so. It's really hard because there's half the people in this town don't want us to do any improvements, but we need to, because if we don't take care of, you know, the boards, Jordan will say it, he's Parks and Rec, I'm probably doing all the talking, I should let him talk more, but, we have to improve it or we'll lose it. And there's an example of that. We have our tennis courts over there. Those are getting torn out. They are too far gone to fix. $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to fix those, not enough people play tennis to warrant that. So those were put in, we have pictures of the people that put it in back in the 60s, 70s. It's a shame, but that was before my time. That was something that just got out of control and we just lost it, so.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
please.
Are you still coaching, for like softball and that?
I coach,
I mean, for the older ones, because,
Yeah.
you know, Calvadays is this weekend, and they bring in the big softball tournaments.
yep,
And I'll tell you, they spend a lot of money over there, a
yep.
lot of money, and it would be nice if maybe you could get some of them people to come over, and you probably wouldn't do it this year, you'd have to wait and do it next year, but just, you know, tell them what we're doing and that this is, you know, fundraiser, and maybe they could,
Well,
help.
yeah, whatever we could think of, like,
Right.
like, I don't know if they'd want to play softball on a Little League field, it's a little short for a lot of them.
The cornhole
You know,
yeah, but you could always use it and go to Calabas.
Yeah, we might be able to
and
do
bar,
something
and
like that.
use theirs.
I would like to get back to a 3-on-3 tournament.
The Gus Macker?
Well, not so much Gus Macker, those are big, we don't have the facilities for that. But we ran a 3-on-3 tournament 12, 13 years ago. It generated $500-600 that day.
Another thing you can
That'd
do,
be
and
weight golf.
we had a lot of groups coming, and that is the, what is it, throwing horseshoes.
Yep, you could do.
You got a
horseshoes.
lot of horseshoe people around here.
Irons is doing a cornhole tournament.
Yep.
To help raise for the fireworks. Anything that we can do that. The problem is, folks, there's only 4 or 5, there's only 5 or 4 now. You know, and we just need people that can generate. But the one thing that I ask is when you do it, say this money that we donate here, whether we make 100, whether we make 5,000, it goes for this. We're gonna put it into the playground fund. It all goes into the general fund. It's in a line item, okay? That line item budget is in there. It's not gonna get spent. When we did that up north on the 4th thing, we did a golf ball shootout to the middle of the lake, floating golf balls. That I know raised $700 in one day. I was out there in my kayak for about 6 hours retrieving golf balls and fishing it. It was a blast. There were guys that made had a blast. And the whole thing was sponsored by Fawn Crest Golf Course.
I was just gonna
They
say,
gave
why
a
didn't you
free
get her
membership.
together with
There
a golf
was a
thing?
small ring.
Yeah, they gave the big prizes.
One year we did that, nobody won it. The next year, 2 people hit it. So then we just had a shoot off at the end of the night. Whoever got closest in 3 balls or whoever got it closest in the ring, they won. So that's how the membership, and that was funded by itself, just to win a $150 membership, $170 membership. So just things like that.
Can you, do a newsletter to get out and let the people know that, sent to all the people that this is what we're planning and any donations? That's what they did over in Calaba to purchase the old school.
Yep. we can do
Wayne
something
sent
like
out a
that.
newsletter and they got checks going in, you know, that are coming into there to go towards the donations, you know, when they get their tax deductible.
Yep.
To
Well, requirement of the grant process. And we hadn't had one in like 3 years because of COVID, or 2.5 years because of COVID, because like I said, a lot of stuff's gonna go through. So that helps us with this, and then, yeah, we can get it out that this is what we wanna do, these are the ideas. Just do it.
2 things.
Here's some money to kick off towards the veterans, there's $127.
Okay. Awesome. Okay.
And you're gonna get it, and you will get a check every month.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. And that goes to the,
Second thing is because of the enormous turnout, because of the awesome fireworks every year, why can't we turn it into a festival? Like Calaba Days, like Brethren Days?
go ahead.
Excel Wellston would like to organize that and do some fundraising for that. Obviously, it's not a lot of people that is in our organization, so we can't do it all. So we're also looking for people with ideas and different things to go along with that. But we would definitely love to do a big 4th of July thing. And I do have to say, I don't know if anybody else paid attention, but the Cadillac News, somehow Wellston was listed on their advertising. We were the only one in Manistee County listed on their fireworks advertising. So a lot of places that didn't have fireworks this year, they're gonna go wherever they're at. And they had towns like Luther, Manton, Falmouth, Wellston, I mean, little tiny towns. Traverse City, I guess, was on there, and Cadillac, but those were the only big areas. So we had people we weren't expecting here for the fireworks.
Well, and we did, 12 years ago, no, 17 years ago, when I was, 16 or 17, when I was first, as a trustee, we did up north on the 4th for 3 years. We did inside the transportation, we cleared it out, we did a men and women's and a youth bow, 25-yard bow shoot. Tried to get that by the insurance company, but we did. Okay, so they were good, you had to come and inspect, nobody's gonna get shot. We did a bow shoot that day, that I ran, I think, Mike Collier ran it 1 year, we did it for 3 years.
We had a 5K run.
We did a 5K run that Cheryl DeBano, before she passed, was a big part in getting that, and there are a lot of cross-country runners that we can get that from the school. I know most of them. We might even be able to get the cross-country coaches, Mr. and Mrs. Griffin, to do that. We had a 5K run. We had the golf ball shoot into the lake. We had a volleyball tournament. We had a 3-on-3 Gus Macker style basketball tournament over there. It ended up just being for adults because no kids came that year. What else did we do there? I think there was Dan Funk ran a canoe race at one time, because that was back when he had his livery.
There's the
The
horseshoe
golf course is the
tournament.
horseshoe tournament, Jerry's happening here, and this is why it worked so well for us for 3 years. It pitted out a little bit because people got tired, the same people were expected to do it all day on the 4th. A lot of times when you have groups, one person or two people dictate how everything's gonna be done. So like the golf ball shoot, when I did it, go ahead, do your thing. We never micromanaged anything. And it was really good. I think one year we collected over $2,200. We did a great thing that year, might have been even higher. You know those little glow-in-the-dark, like little tubes that you buy in a thing for kids? We were buying them for $2. We were selling them 3 for $1. And every kid around that, there must have been 50 kids, 60 kids, they all had these little glow-in-the-dark necklaces, you know, wrist things. It was great. We probably generated $50, $60, $70 on that. You know, and the kids said, yeah, we can do that. And that's where we need, maybe with Wallaston Excel or the boosters, people to join in with them if they want to do the 4th of July. There has to be one governing kind of body to oversee that would hold meetings. I can't be expected to do it, you know, the board can't be expected to do it. We're part-time and we do kind of full-time work sometimes. So it gets a little nuts. Yes?
Well, what I meant by turn it into a festival like what Brethren Days is to have vendors come in to set up their tables and sell what they sell.
I think, Denise, didn't the boosters do a vendor on one of our up north on the 4th?
We
Didn't
did.
You guys have vendors set up
We
there?
had a breakfast and we had a vendor, going, and we tried to make it go longer, but so many people would leave, you know, you didn't have enough people for the manage the breakfast, and that was a big thing, because they were lined up out the door waiting to come in to eat. The breakfast was really good. People were looking for places to eat on that day.
But the crowd.
That's
The other
the problem.
places they do their things on an off weekend, like ours is on the 4th of July, and I can remember
Right.
that. It was hot, and literally, my kids were babies.
Canada
and I
Days
worked
has
all
downsized
day
a lot.
on the 4th, and that's why you have to peter out. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, when you
But
do
they,
it on an off
but Calva
holiday,
Days
that's-
is downsized. They got the car show. They got a crafters that's gonna block the whole street off.
Yep.
And then they have, a euchre tournament at the bar. And, those are the 3 main ones.
And that's,
So could you close the street down there by the,
Yeah, they are.
we can do whatever we want.
because that's what
down
you'd
there.
have to do to be at
Yeah.
that big.
Yeah.
But you have to remember too, there are so many people that come there to swim and hang out. When you start putting vendors and food trucks, we did have food trucks down there. And we got screamed at by everybody because
Yeah.
it took up parking. It took up-
Generators
we have
went
a
out.
very
You're taking
small
business
park.
away from me.
Yep.
We heard that a lot.
We had that, but we also had people around there that didn't want to see the food truck in front of their house. You know, they like to see the lake, they like to see their kids, so that is a really small park. I mean, it's less than, I think this is less than 8 acres total. You know, the whole, I think it's, what is it? 3 blocks by 3 blocks square, city blocks.
Tawas has got food vendors that they're letting in now on a regular basis. Of course, they got a lot more business, and they're down Highway 23. They're not on any of the side streets, but one will be Elephant Ears, maybe 5 or 6 businesses down. They got one that's selling the Mexican food, and then another one will have the brats and stuff like that. You know, and they're there all the time.
You know, and that is the one thing too that we have to be careful of, because I had somebody on the 4th of July tell me, you know, the businesses need to put in more money to this. Because look, I just took 4 people to Dollar General. Well, folks, I have to remember that too, Dollar General's not our local business. Dollar General, I went to them for football, basketball,
They won't donate.
they will not donate.
You have to go at the beginning of the year.
So what we want to do is make sets, Jim and Marilyn, upsets for local businesses. So we try to use our local businesses because they're just trying to get by.
But Myers and Walmart, if you go at the beginning of the year, will donate. They'll give you a $100 gift card.
Yep, and they will do that type of thing, but I'm saying when you go to buy food, don't go buy everything from Borders, try to get some from our local businesses too. And that's because to get everybody on your side, that's the tough thing in the town. You can do what you think is 100% right, and you make somebody mad. You know, we used to do a buck pole with spaghetti dinners and make the restaurants mad. You know, what we used to have the Wells and Thurston water. And the problem was you had rentals, you had restaurants that were involved with it. The restaurants got mad about the dinner for the Buck Bowl. So the restaurant owners, and the exact words came out of their mouth to me was, so can I bring in semi-trailers and I can rent rooms out of that and take business away from them? So we have to be really careful on the things that we do, that we're keeping everybody inclusive. In a small town, you know, most towns don't know their local grocery, we do.
I was just simply talking about little direct sell people bringing in their tables.
Oh.
I didn't go all
Right.
like
Oh, we
food
did do
truck,
that too. We did
like
that
down
too.
at the park.
Down at the park. The problem with that was, there's kids playing, nobody was there to buy. I mean, we had kids games, we had a bounce house, so we thought, yeah, we'll put the vendors right in. There was a lot of traffic, but the vendors didn't do, we didn't get it, they wouldn't have had no interest to come back the next year. Because they just didn't have, it wasn't like the flea.
We used to put them right out here. And we
Yep.
had it on the signs and we'd advertise.
And that's where you'd want to
Well,
put
they
it
got
here.
mad that one year, the vendors, because when we did the stuff at the lake, they said, the people were too far away. And
Right.
It's like, too
Yeah.
far away, you just drive around the corner or you walk. It's
You
not
gotta
that-
walk that far to go
Have
to
they
the
never been
fireworks.
to Ann Arbor
I
Art
know.
Fair?
We had a hayride that brought people to the vendors, to the pancake breakfast, over to the park. So, I mean, whatever you can think of, I mean,
We've done it.
we can do it again. The problem is we just lost,
Momentum.
we just lost people to do it. You know, we've lost interest. I'm thinking of the people on the up north on the 4th, a lot of them aren't with us anymore. You know, where they moved away and some have died. And we just need fresh blood. The problem is now I'll say it on Facebook, when something negative comes out, 180 people. When something positive comes out, 40 comments. Or 4 comments, I'm sorry, not 40, 4, 5.
Can
If
I
it's
just say
positive,
that
nobody comments. Yeah.
Part of that 180 comments is me arguing with the people talking. I just want that said.
Yeah.
But
So a lot of that, so that is our part. And then to go to the 4th of July, talking to the board, we talked about it at the last board meeting. People talk about Brethren Days, they talk about Calvin Days, they talk about the flea roast. That's all privately funded. The government entities pay zero. The only thing that happens on Brethren Days, I heard directly from Daisy Bunting, is they mow the grass. Besides that, the township board has nothing to do with it.
Right.
You know, for us, when we did the up north on the 4th, part of the porta potty money was taken out of the money that was generated. We came to the board and had an event. You know, a lot of people complained about those days. We don't have an event on the 4th of July. You know, we tried to get extra porta potties. It was busy, couldn't get them. It was a mess up. Usually on the 4th, we do bring in a few more. Those porta potties run us $90 per. So we have talked about having bathrooms and things, permanent bathrooms. The problem is the proximity to the lake. Second problem is, I have put lights up around the park because I get comments that we've had comments of people being assaulted on the, behind the beach wall. They don't like the beach wall. Now, if I have a bathroom that's open all night long, that scares me too. Okay? And that's what people don't realize. Our police are 20 minutes away. At that, 25 minutes away. Okay? So that is, we have all those things to think about. I would hate to put in a permanent building, concrete block wall with a metal door that somebody can't hear somebody scream and somebody would get assaulted. I couldn't handle that. We're not a township like down by Wayne County or Detroit that has a police force.
well, at that point, park closes at 10, lock the bathrooms.
We
But a
don't
rapist
have
doesn't
the
care about
facilities for
hours.
somebody to lock it every day.
Well,
Yeah.
at least it wouldn't happen in the bathroom.
Well, yeah, but we don't have the ability to unlock it and lock it every day. Okay, I'll give you an example. Our custodian didn't start work on the Monday after the 4th till noon. Because he had a EMT run at 3 o'clock in the morning to get home till 6:30. He called me, he goes, man, I said, all you gotta do today is just pick up the garbage around the park. He goes, can I come in around 11 noon? And that's when he came in. Now, if we wouldn't have somebody there to unlock those bathrooms, you know, I can't do it, Jordan can't do it, we all have jobs, you know, so it's like we don't have a DPW department, you know, public works department that has 7, 8, 10 people. We have 1. And then me and Jordan and Jason. That's it.
What if we ended up with, a volunteer that could be a key holder? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it's very,
We could, but the volunteers come and go, you know, they do it for a while, they don't do it. The bathroom thing is something we can talk about. It's not a dead issue. I'm not saying it's a dead issue. I'm just saying we've had a little bit, so somebody's gonna come up with a better idea. Somebody's gotta come up with a better idea, that's all. It's just,
Right.
you know, and where do you put them? You put them on that end, you put them on this end.
right.
the kids, and I'm kind of being recorded, so I don't want to be crass, but wiping things on the wall is not for my custodian to clean. And I guarantee it'll happen bi-weekly or weekly. You know, and that's what gets me. You know, we want to, but all of you here are good and care. It's those 5% that, you know, doesn't. So that's the whole thing with the
Do
beach.
we know, like, possibly who those kids are?
If the school would tell me, I would know.
Well,
Yeah, I do know who the
Because
school.
my train of thought is, okay, so you've got all this excess energy to do stuff. We're a small, old-fashioned town. Guess what, buddy? Here's a mop.
Well,
You wanna play here all the time and you wanna be rude to people. Well, now you're gonna earn your right to be rude.
we've had the police department come out and talk to the one boy that creates all the havoc. 2 years ago, what he'd like to do during the fall was go snag fish out of the creek, salmon, and then basically leave them on the street. So you take a black salmon at 10 o'clock at night, at 6 o'clock the next morning, that is basically a pile of goo,
Right.
and it stunk. And he was doing it 10, 12, 15 fish. I think Jerry was picking them up then. It was disgusting. It was, and if you knew Jerry yourself, I heard about it. He didn't like doing it. So it was one of those things where we've taken that kid to the police. His parents, his mom does not care. Does not care. The police don't want anything to do with him because he's a minor, and what are they gonna do with him? He's not doing anything bad. When he broke the rail, I have video. There's video of it. There was nothing done. I fixed the rail. That's all I could do. The police didn't want to do anything with it. Now, we have had a few officers that are keeping their eye on him, and that's helped.
Sounds like somebody
You know.
should just give him a good old-fashioned.
But there's quite a few. I had a
You
young
have to go to
man,
jail.
I had a young man steal a bike, I think stole a bike, rode it all the way down, and launched it out, it's in the lake, 25 feet down. I'm not young enough to die for that anymore. That bike stays there. There's nothing I can do. I'm not risking, I'm asking the kid to go get it. They go down there and drown, it's my responsibility. I'm not hiring a diver. You know, we can't, you know. These rocks that are on this side, they're big rocks, riprap rocks. They take them to the end of the dock and they hold them and they jump off so see how deep they can get. Believe it or not, it gets deep fast. There's all kinds of rocks down there. They're 15, 20 feet down.
Trash cans going away too.
We used to have red trash cans. Now you see the big blue ones? We have fished out about 3 or 4 of those metal trash cans we painted red, and thank goodness we painted them red because we could see them in the water. Jordan and I fished one out one time. We've taken pipe poles to fish them out. Every spring we do a walk around. Last year, the water level was above the dock. So we dove under with wrenches and got that out. That was what your township board does. We don't have people to do that. I would not ask my custodian to do it. It was dangerous.
Right.
You know, we got it out, we got the ladder fixed, the ladder's back. Andy Freeze fixed it, so, yes.
I just don't, okay, so the permanent bathroom issue isn't a dead issue then? It can be discussed?
It can be, yeah, no, it's not in this.
Okay, because
It's
I
not in
don't,
mine.
because I don't want that 1 to up to 5% of the people that make it horrible or do horrible things to ruin it for those that really need it and want it.
Yep, I don't either, and that's the fight we get. It's really hard to stay positive sometimes when you work your tail off as 5 full-time workers plus do stuff around here, and then you get torn down every time you turn around because they don't even really have a clue what they're doing.
Have you talked to Stronach to see what they do about protecting their park?
Does Stronach have a bathhouse down there?
No, it's porta
Porta
potty.
potties.
It's a pit or whatever, like what you were
It's
talking
a
about, it's a
pit
pit
toilet.
bathroom.
Yeah,
I
Like
guess.
the one
Yeah,
down
they
at
got
the
pit
Robinson.
bathrooms.
Yeah, Jordan had just talked.
And the one
about
at
pit
the
toilet,
lighthouse
looking
park
into
is
that.
always locked.
Just like
I've
most
never been in
campgrounds.
once.
Yeah,
It's been
so
open.
a pit toilet would be a possibility there. We wouldn't want running water, we couldn't have a drain field, so it would be something.
Explain to me exactly what a pit toilet.
You put the building right on top.
Okay.
And they
then
come
you
and
pump
pump
it out. It doesn't have a leach field, because we wouldn't want a leach field that close to the lake.
Right,
We
right,
couldn't
okay.
leave that out. But yeah, I wanna go back to, so yeah, the second part of this meeting was, if people want Crystal Lake to be better, I would like you to approach the boosters and Excel and the board. Come to us if you wanna come away, we're not against that. But you also have to remember too, and I wanna state, the board's made a statement, we spent $9,000 on fireworks this year. We can't spend any more. And that fireworks show was the shortest show we've had, okay?
It was amazing.
It was good, but it wasn't.
better.
So we're gonna look into the fireworks company and say why. Jordan has that question into him now. If we wanted to put out cans at the local stores for your change, put your change in there, and if you collected $500, that $500 can go right to those fireworks. If you collect 2,000, we'll go 2,000. One year, we did have a couple that donated $1,000 or $2,000. $1,000, so we put $500 a year extra, so it was $9,500, actually, it was, we upped it.
We used to donate.
Yeah, so individual people can donate to those fireworks and make them better, because it kind of galls me a little bit that they expect the township board to put it on because, well, Lee Rose has it, this has it. They're not, they're
There's a lot
privately
that goes
funded.
into it for the cigarettes.
They're privately funded, folks, we're not. We do it all by ourselves. You know, that fireworks barge was built by every one of your board members right now. We wouldn't have fireworks 12 years ago, 13 years ago. We could no longer let them off the shore. We had to go to the middle of the lake. And Kevin Schuster was supervisor at that time. Him and I and Jordan and a lot of other people on that, we built those. So we welded them, we built them, and we just had it rebuilt them. This right here, the ramp, $3,000. $1,000 to rebuild the ramp. So with the 4th of July right there, we put $13,000 to $14,000 into one day. That's 7-8% of our budget. We can't do anymore. We want to keep our fireworks, but there might be a time when we don't know we can't. They keep getting, if we end up with a 10-minute fireworks show next year, at what point is 10 grand worth it? We spent $9,000 for a 15, 14-minute show. At one point, we got to balance off when is it worth it. Now, I don't want them like some of the shows that they let one off every 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Our show is fast, furious, it's awesome. I love it. So, yes.
So you spent $9,025 for the fireworks this year. Where did those funds come from? 'Cause
They're
I
out of
didn't.
general fund.
I
9,000.
where? I got a copy of the general fund and I didn't see 9,000. All I saw was 1,000.
Same line item budget. One line item would that be under?
Comes out of the park and rec.
Parks and Rec.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, so that come out of Parks and Rec. So, yeah, that's where, yeah, I mean, we're very frugal with the money that we spend. We try immensely, to be as frugal as possible. If you notice, we've got away from the cedar, we're going to vinyl, railing, fencing, because we don't have to replace it every 6-7 years. You know, this building needs a new roof. That will be the next thing we'll have to tackle. So. Any other, like I said, this is informal, we're all neighbors here. I'm just presenting the information, so what the board is thinking. Because a lot of folks, this is most people we've had in the meetings since we had the 4-wheeler meetings 6-7 years ago. Honestly, we don't have people. At our last meeting, after all that hullabaloo that we had over the lake, those two were our only guests. And then we had some people that came in about broadband. That was it, we had 4 people. 5. Both our deputy chief, our fire chief, our what's your title? Assistant? Fire chief assistant. And then we had 2 folks talking about broadband. They would give us a little bit of information on that. So that's all we had. So, yes.
Meetings are on Tuesdays and my Tuesdays are completely booked, and I and a few other people would really like if you would go back to on live as well as in person. It might generate a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for?
That's something
Engagement.
I asked the board about. It's not, you know, even on the online meetings that we had over COVID, when we had to buy these computers.
Everything was new and
we had 4 people. You were on occasionally, and there was like 3 other people that were on occasionally.
right, and
You know,
during
so it's
COVID
just
that
not-
was new.
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, we can talk about it as a board, but it's not something that,
Well, if you could,
yeah, so.
Okay, so back to the lake thing.
Yes.
So,
Go ahead.
you're gonna turn.
okay, it's obviously no secret, that the lake is one of the biggest reasons why we moved here. So I want to do and help out however I can to make sure that it stays here, and so that my kids and my grandkids can continue the traditions that we've had with that lake.
You need to talk to, those 2 groups right there would be a start,
Okay.
honestly. They're always looking for people. I don't care if they have 100, 150 people membership, if they don't, I wish they did. I'm sure they don't, but they need them. You know, we can do a lot of things with a lot of hands.
Absolutely.
And that's where I talk to both groups. It doesn't matter if you have a pancake breakfast and you make $50, or if you have a pie sale and you make $500. Every little bit helps. You
And
know?
the word is out.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted this out there, because we have a survey, we did have a survey, this has been in the works for 4 years. I think we started talking about, when Jordan first came out, I think we started talking about back when Gene and Dick were on the board, being showing good safety, so we've been wanting to do this and get legs, and that's kinda the plan we came up with, and, you know, we don't do the nefarious things that everybody says we do. We didn't pass 166 new, zoning ordinances during COVID. We actually passed none. The board actually did as little as possible because people were not allowed to come to the meeting,
Right.
you know? And if you look at the broadband thing, there's about 40%, 30% of our area that doesn't even have internet access, so that doesn't, you know, so we were very cautious on that. That was just people trying to create ill will for no reason at all, so. Yes,
We're new to the area
okay.
and, we get the bulletin. And in there it didn't have where it works or the parade, so we got in on the fireworks, which I thought was great. And the parade, we missed it, but we started going somewhere, so we saw the end of it. But if it's in that bulletin, that's how we found out that this was coming on tonight. Then you'll reach more people if you put it in the bulletin.
Well, yeah, yes, and a lot of times it does go in there. This year we've had some very strange, coming off of COVID, having some other circumstances. You know, it was right after a general election, so some things changed, some things didn't work out. I'll be quite honest, the reason the porta potties didn't get ordered sooner is I was in the hospital the Monday before 4th of July. You know, so I was not up on my feet until that Friday. And by the time I called, he's like, I can't get him out there. You know, so it wasn't intentional. It's not, we're
Can
not
we
doing
put
it.
in a standing order with them for so many every 4th of July weekend, or?
We have had that because of COVID last year though, we had no porta potty. We got rid of every porta potty in this town.
Right,
Because they had to be cleaned every like 4 or 6 hours. We weren't doing that. I mean,
Right.
they're not, they are cleaned every Thursday in our town. That is our route. And there is no extra cleaning when he's the route that they do, so.
Is that CNW?
I
Sorry.
think that's what we have through, yeah. Yeah, so, I believe so. Yes, sir.
Back to that bulletin thing, also in conjunction with it, maybe you could utilize that, billboard you have out in front of the building here and put on there like parade such and such day or time. You know, keep it simple, obviously. Just so people know that might be driving by, they may not get the bulletin news or even know about it. But if they just drive by and they happen to see it and say, parade such and such day and time.
We can do that.
That's free advertising.
We will do
It doesn't
that.
cost you a nickel.
I mean, and in previous years it has been up there. I know we've had the parade up there. The parade was kind of the meeting before the 4th of July. Because remember, we didn't come off the COVID until until June. So we didn't know. I mean, a lot of that was rush. You know, rush to get, okay, we're gonna go ahead and do the fireworks. We didn't know we were doing fireworks.
Right.
We had them ordered, but we had the Labor Day, last year we did them on Labor Day. And we were getting ready to move them on Labor Day again. I personally like them better on Labor Day, but, you know, because nobody else has them, and it was a much quieter event. But, yeah, so a lot of that was, we had about 20 days to get everything back in line. So this year, forgive us for COVID, we were just coming off that. And most years we do, it was a little bit rushed, and then myself being sick and other folks not being their normal selves. So, yeah, yes, sir.
I know we touched on it earlier in the meeting, and I guess I didn't grasp it all that well, but it seems like a lot of these other towns around the area, these small towns, Calvin, Brethren, Arcadia, Frankfurt, so on and so forth, they all have their days, their Brethren days, Arcadia days. What's to prevent Wellston from having it? Again, someone brought up, well, we're like the
Volunteers.
outsiders, we don't have one. Why? What is it?
I just said I would like to answer that too. So it goes back to this community had up north on the 4th. I mean, when I came in, this was something that they've always done. And personally, what I think has happened is so many people love having family up on the 4th of July that we couldn't get volunteers. We had church groups. We had teenage kids coming in. I applaud you guys for wanting to do it, but I'm going to tell you, especially on those days that it was 90, I had, you know, we had elderly volunteers from church groups about passing out. I mean, the 4th of July, when you want to be with your family and friends, how do you get volunteers that aren't getting paid to serve other people? And you see what they do on Facebook. Can you imagine face-to-face with too much drinking? I don't have to imagine it. I experienced it sometimes. So I know that's what I'm saying. I think our group needs to come up with that, or the weekend before the 4th, and then go with the fireworks, or
Yeah, the weekend before the 4th ain't gonna work.
right, because that's the flea roast, and so you start getting into it. And all these other little towns have the weekends, and so then we kind of get like, what do you do? So do we do the 5th of July?
Well,
Have a
nobody
big
does
festival,
anything in
or-
August around here, really. But
You know,
by the
so
time
maybe we just
August
need to
comes
look at
around,
the calendar and
everything's
find
pretty
something.
much
And I will tell you, the old stalwarts will say the 4th, the fireworks still have to be on the 4th. So
Well, yeah,
that
the
would be, but
fireworks,
if you want to do a
absolutely.
festival, you could do that.
we can do a festival without doing
Do the
fireworks.
fireworks kicks it off, and then the festival's on the 5th.
And that's the thing, you know, but that was our biggest thing, after 3 years of the same people doing the up north on the 4th, 20 years or 10 years prior, there was the Walson Physical. That fizzled out. I mean, they had a couple-year run, right, Denise? They had a couple-year run, and it just disappeared.
I have all their newsletters and that.
Yep, I mean, and that was back when we had WADA. What it is the same groups over and over, the same people, they get tired, they get worn out. And, you know, me personally, I'm not around on the 3rd. We do something else. So it's, you know, it's hard to do that. We gave up a lot. But I'm around on the 4th, and if we want to do something on the 4th, you have to remember how many people are there, how busy it is. Don't get too over crazy about it, because yeah, you'll get volunteers this year, and you'll get them next year. And after that, it's like, I want to do something else.
Well, that's kind of why we gotta keep up with the times too. You know, okay, everything is so tradition, which is great. That's one of the great things about being in communities like this. But we also have to be attractive to the younger, more up-to-date stuff as well.
The volleyball tournament, the basketball tournament, those are great for young kids. Trust me, there's a lot of kids that play basketball every Wednesday night at my house. I have anywhere from 15 to, you know,
Kayak
15,
races
20 kids.
across the lake would be good.
Or those cardboard boats things
We had
that you
cardboard
used to
boats.
try to make.
Oh, no, we
you
had
know?
floating something when you, Dan Funk did something like, yeah, there's a lot.
Make your own raft
but
or something.
Right.
Yeah.
The problem is we need to have those things, and then every year find somebody new when people get tired of it. And that's what we were not able to have because, and I'm gonna go to the Facebook thing again, every time you do something, 10 people tear you down, and it makes people tired of it. What we have to do is stop. But I mean, and that's the thing, and that's why, like, the page that I put things on, I put information, period, that's it.
Right.
And I wish people would, when people ask me questions, stop other people answering it, because then the wrong information gets out there, you know? Yeah, I mean, we put volunteers out there for the trash day, we got one. I was out there, some other board members were out there, we worked the whole day, in the rain, you know? And we do a lot. And we're not asking our fire department EMTs to do it, they're doing too much, as is enough. So, but yeah, we can do all that stuff, we just need people to come up with it. And you have to have, you know, the right leadership to do it. That the one thing that I've noticed is adults don't like to be micromanaged. They're gonna do this, they're gonna do the horseshoes, let them do the horseshoes. Okay, go ahead. Tell me what your plan is, go, okay, you're gonna pay this, pay that. Because you have to be, with the festival going back, games of chance are okay? The squares where they put the chicken in, wherever the chicken poops in the square, that's illegal. You have to have a gambling license for it. Basketball tournaments are okay. No, it's because it's games of chance are illegal. Athletic skill, golf ball shoot, things like that, that was okay. Bow shoot, that was okay, because that's your ability. It's not gambling. You don't want a gambling license. I would be very-
The horseshoe pits, they had their little bit, but they'd walk off the side and they'd have their little bets and then they'd come back.
Yeah, they did that in our house, we don't know.
Yeah, what the organizers don't know, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's why we were,
There they ran it.
skill games are legal, games of chance are not. You know, so that's, yeah, I still have the thing, it's like this big, we made a sucker tree, where kids can put a quarter in, and if you got a sucker, or a dime, or whatever it was, if there was a black sucker, you got a prize. I mean, we had stuff like that, those are okay.
Can we do 50-50 rifles?
No, that one you need
a
a,
raffles as long as you get a license.
yeah, you'd have to have a 503
Okay.
Yeah, you have to-
nonprofit
one of these
status.
groups might be able to do it, I don't know, are you able to do it with yours? So there's all kinds of different,
Right.
So it's a
Like-
lot of, yeah, do it right away.
You can have a 50-50 as long as it does not, you do not collect over $200.
yeah.
If
So
it's under $200, then you don't have to have a license.
Okay.
So it's a weird thing, you know, the government gets in your way, so you have to do kind of the goofy little things, and like I said, if you just wanna have the festival for a party, you can do that, and then you have to come to the board, hey, we're planning this, we're planning this, we're planning this. Then, okay, we might need to get 5, 10, 20 porta potties, because the number of people we had there estimated between 2,000 to 3,000, we needed 40 porta johns. Figure that out. We can't afford that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So 10 would have been helpful, but it didn't happen. It wasn't intentional.
The 2 extra ones that were typically there would have been great.
Well, the one that was on by the basketball courts got tipped over and broke the week before. Somebody liked to tip it over, so that's why we lost that one. Usually there's 3. There's 2 at the beach, which there are 2 at the beach. There was that one that got tipped over and broke.
And then the
So that's
extra
why-
one you bring in is a little bit further down Oak Street, or
We
Second
usually
Street.
put 1 down Oak Street. We've had 1 or 2 down Oak Street. Last year we didn't have any. The year before that, I don't think we brought any extras in because.
Well, we didn't have any last year because of COVID.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was, yeah, it wasn't intentional, but we're also, the max we've ever had there is 6. So, but, yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, Jack.
Thank you for what all you guys are doing. You're taking a lot of heat for doing what's good. Good job.
Yes.
As far as putting information out on Facebook, can you also ask for help? If you need help, like,
You were in the hospital and you couldn't do the porta potty thing. Yeah, you could have asked people out there for help.
I didn't even think about it.
I got friends that have companies and they would have been more than willing to get them here.
Oh, hindsight, there again, it's hindsight. At that point, I didn't.
we're
know
just
about it.
offering at this
Yeah.
point.
And-
It's good
and-
to know, but a lot of times when you're in the hospital, that's not what
Yeah,
you're
that
thinking
wasn't.
about in that moment in time.
Or
Um,
your trustees, your clerk, treasurer, somebody put it out there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we're not perfect. And as far as we were concerned, we were having an hour-long parade, and we were having fireworks at dusk. It's a park. We don't have 6, 7 porta johns there right now. They're not needed. And we didn't know the turnout we were gonna have after COVID. I kinda thought it was crazy to see all those people together, when only half the people are vaccinated still. So, I mean, I'm hoping that I don't have to have my athletes wear masks. People complain about wearing masks in stores. Try having a varsity football player or varsity girls basketball player wear a mask throughout a whole game. That's impossible. We had an official almost die on the floor. He was a robust man, and he probably had enough time without the mask. But I mean, it's hard, and the kids did it. So I was really surprised to see all the people. I'm afraid that hopefully we don't go back to that. So, yeah. But thank you. If anybody else has any questions, thank you all for coming. Like I said, we're here to work with you and for you, do the best we can. But you know, we do put out volunteers, and sometimes they show and sometimes they don't. And I put out quite a few things on different volunteers, and we didn't get any. We put out volunteers, like I said, the last one for the trash. We got.
Drinking all nice water.
It's
I'm
good
sorry,
advice, and
I
I
got
say that
heartburn.
to you a lot though too, so keep putting it out there. But
Keep
some
trying.
people say they're not on Facebook, so just try everywhere we can. We'll put a sign up and we'll see what happens.
So.
All right.
Well, thank you much for coming. I think we got a battery. You need to keep it on a Pokemon or something.
And you have a list, people sign in, throw down
Yeah.
names.
Yeah, maybe
reminding me, inviting me.
You bet. It's a guy thing, you gotta be reminded. It's just the way it is. Yep.
Somebody else told him that. Yay.
I gotta grab that other sheet. That budget sheet.